Jen's hooked up. Yeah guys, so we're back at a little haunt. Snapper. Yep, snapper. It was our very first bait. Jen's hooked up again. Well, I've just done a little bit of a shift. Quite like droppers out on the west coast. I'm hoping it's a snapper. Welcome to Real Kiwi Fishing this week. Jen and I back off the sand. What we've done is we've come back to a old haunt. We're actually here a few months ago. It's a spot that my old man used to fish. He used to paddle out to the island there on a surfboard and catch snapper with a hand line. And me and Jen came here a couple of months ago and she got a real nice snapper. We're actually here on the low tide and we found it quite hard to fish. I sort of basted it off murder eye. And as that tide came in, it pushed us off the lip and we started fishing a hole. You just got to find those little holes and you should get onto the fish. So yeah, hope we get into a few fish today. Hope you guys enjoy. Jen's hooked up to our first fish. Back at an old haunt. It's KIWI, is it? Snapper. Yep, snapper. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yeah, keep winding. Bring him in on the wave. Wind, 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 wind. Yeah, boy. That's a nice fish too. How's that, guys? Our first fish of the morning, first bait. Jen got a bite on her rod. That's actually my rod, but I was doing something, she ran over and grabbed it, hooked up. That's a nice little fish, Jen. Yeah guys, so we're back at a little haunt that we used to fish years ago, or my dad used to fish. I used to come as a kid out at KIWI. We were here last time on that low tide and we started getting fish in a hole as the tide came in, so we've come back on that high tide It can be hard to fish the high tide on the west coast, but what we've got in front of us is a little sort of hole or a little channel, and you can see those waves there, and we're just on the other side of those waves. Wave will come in, it won't break, so we get into that little channel, and yeah, we've got our first fish for the morning. It was our very first bait. Jen's hooked up again. I'm trying to get a bait out, and she's hooking up. Maybe another little snap. The cool thing is Jen's actually on my little TC rod. It's only 10 foot, but I knew because we were going to be close in that hole, we didn't really need to cast too far. So I thought I'd bring that for a bit of a blast. Another snap, is it? Yeah, KIWI, this one. There you go, guys, just a little KIWI. Well, it's not too little, but got a KIWI, which isn't too bad.
It's got both hooks stuck.
Probably, obviously after snapper, but it's good to get a KIWI as well, because that's fresh bait. If the snapper come on the bite, you can actually chuck on a piece of KIWI that's going to last a little bit longer on the hook. But yeah, it's not too bad. Snapper and a KIWI so far. That's Jen's second bait. So yeah, not too bad. Hopefully a sign that we're going to get a few fish today. Well, I've just done a little bit of a shift. We're further up there, there's a little hole over there that we were fishing. Went pretty quiet. Jen got that snapper in the KIWI. It's gone pretty quiet up there, so we've just shifted down. We've only gone maybe 400 meters. Saw another little hole out here. The waves weren't crashing till they got in close, so moved down here and Jen got a bite straight away. Got a bit of KIWI on her hooks. And it's got a pilly on mine, so I'll cast mine out. But yeah, she got a bite straight away. Went pretty quiet up there. It just shows you just a little bit of a shift, and you can get back onto them. And I'm actually just running a, Jen just got another bite. Dropper rig on both. I was going to go a running rig on mine, but I thought I'd start with the dropper. I quite like droppers out on the west coast, with the paddle crabs. But with my dropper, my sinkers, my breakaways, what I do is I run a split pin on the little loop of the sinker, and then a swivel, and then also I make my loop, and then I cut one end, and then that just gives you that one bit of trace for your bait, and you make it quite long. So I made it quite long, that one. Hooked up at last.
It's got a little red top.
To my first fish. I'm hoping it's a snapper. Done that little shift. Starting to feel like a KIWI. Yeah, it's the big KIWI. Still a bit of fun. He's a big KIWI. Don't really need him, so we'll let him go. Bit of fun. Jen's hooked up. You sure? Keep winding. It's not in the wave?
Yeah, I felt him pull off.
Okay.
Oh, maybe you'll grab one.
Might have been a KIWI. Jen just had a fish turn up on the rod. It's gone pretty quiet for us. Tide's actually going out, and that little holding or gutter that we're fishing is obviously going to get a little bit shallow. Had a couple of good opportunities. Had a real good grab on the kōtare. Felt like a real nice snapper. Up around that sort of 10-pound. Rod buckled over. I struck and it just stayed buckled. Spat it. But the tide's gotten real shallow. And we're just fishing inside the little holes here. Just another little KIWI. I think that's pretty much all we're going to get, guys. It's gotten quite shallow on us. It's getting close to that bottom of the tide. Might try and stick around and maybe walk out to that lip. But yeah, getting a few KIWI in this little hole. There you go, just another little KIWI. But yeah, that tide's gone right out. There's a little hole here just before you get onto the other side of that shelf to the lip. Just catching a few little KIWI in there. It's been a pretty cool day. Got the sis out, which is pretty cool. Just try a couple more baits, see what happens. But yeah, we might call it a day. Can sort of walk up here and get onto that lip. We'll see how we go. Pretty much just stayed with the old dropper rigs today. What I thought I would do is have a look at my running rig. It's not the whole thing, but this is basically the running rig that the sinker runs on. That just runs up and down. That goes to the braid, and then that side you tie your trace on, your line, your trace, and then your hook. And that's how I do my running rig. close up. Basically I've got a swivel on each end of my trace, and then I've got my normal, how I like to run my breakaways with swivel and split ring. Well, we're pretty much going to call it a day, guys. It's been a pretty cool day. Didn't get a lot of fish, but we actually had a few opportunities to get a few more fish. But we ended up with a snap there and a few KIWI. Got one real nice hit on the kōtare and missed it. But yeah, it's been a pretty cool day. It's been good to get back out with the sis anyway. And it's always good to be out on the west coast, even if you don't catch much. So I love it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, tight lines.